Alright, welcome back to My Hero Academia Anime Review Episode 137. Now, this one is discussing the newest episode of the series, and yes, there is a new chapter released today. Now, this episode is discussing episode number 115, Marko, the number 5 hero, along with the 370th chapter of the manga. Yes, and I will be mentioning about the title and what it could be referenced to, but who knows. So, this episode covers pretty much the entirety of chapters 300 and I think it's like 260, 261, 262, and almost the entirety of chapter 263, with the exception of the last 3 pages. Yeah, that's pretty much what it covers. Also, this episode, because basically, since they got to episode 6, chapter 62, with this episode in particular, they have exactly, well, they got most of 63 done, so I'd say they got about 43 chapters left overall to adapt. Yeah, 43. So in this episode, we have a few different things going on here. First, we have Mariko. They actually, now the last week's episode ended with her saying, "What's up, Doc?" They actually put it in the actual recap. They kept that part in, but they also put in something that actually was removed from the last episode, but they put it here back in. Was they're saying, "Are you the real one?" Yeah, would say, "What's up, Doc? Are you the real one?" Yeah, they actually put that line back in after it was removed from last week's episode. And of course, tries to run away, and of course, he sticks a bunch of Nemus on her, like five N1s. And of course, he first fights Mokuji, I think is what we call this creature, small creature, fights that one, and fights the 5 Ns, and one of whom basically is built to stretch stuff to the point where one of her arms, I believe it's her left arm, gets basically twisted and basically broken, almost virtually destroyed. Yeah, she loses practically her arm here. Not one of her legs, thank God, because that's basically her thing. Also, she's able to, they show off her ability, or quirk, where basically super speed, where she can basically increase or decrease the muscle size of her legs. Yeah, that's simple, basically what she can do here. Fights out with Nemus and basically chasing after the doctor. And of course, is with Todoroki, try to finish what he wants to with him. Now, in the case of Endeavor, mostly a little bit with him, just him fighting some more Nemus. We see some other heroes, including Lock, I think it's Rock Lock, where he basically would take up some more Nemus and lock a door so some heroes go help Marko. And then we come to some more Nemus. One of these heroes is called Crest. His ability is Shield, so you could say, "Oh, it's a Shield hero." Yes, seriously. I would not be surprised if the creator of My Hero Academia probably has seen the anime for Registered Hero, and probably figured, though, having a character with birth of a shield probably was a really interesting idea. That's my personal guess, and aside from that, just a Carl going up. Anyways, so pretty much basically we cut to the villa where the headquarters is apparently some army headquartered at, where they're basically racing. Of course, you have Midnight just calming down Kaminari, who is basically scared stiff. He's very nervous. And he mentions, "Oh, you took us some problems." Like, well, you don't want to look bad in front of his teammates. Yeah. Thank God that was situated. So, Midnight calms him down. We do see briefly, now, apparently they did miss joke from this shot, where they have a bunch of heroes racing across. So they see Fat Gum there. He's like kind of like almost front and center. Yeah, Miss Joke was moved from the shot for some reason, but we have a bunch of heroes here. You have Todoroki, where he's just, well, running along with everybody. And of course, then we have Skeptic. Great to see Skeptic again. Yeah, he was a character that popped up last season's show. He made his first appearance in the arc in the villains arc, which is referred to as basically, which was when the arc was coming in the manga, they called it My Villain Academia. That's where he first showed up. And I believe he's voiced by Sonny Surratt here. Yes, I believe so. Let's see. No, he's actually voiced by Benjamin Diskin. I believe Reed Destro is voiced by. Yeah, he is. Reed Destro is one of the voices of. Yeah, and then of course you have Kratos, where he basically launches his own personal attack, causes the whole building to basically split in half, and everybody's panicking. And of course, you see reappearance here by Dobby twice. Like, pretty much people who associate with League of Villains. They're basically just here, just to inform people that they're here. And they do notice this. And of course, basically, one of their vice commanders, who has the power of electricity, like Kaminari does. I'm trying to find what this guy's name is. Oh yeah, Michoka's there. My apologies. Just. Yeah, as for who this guy is, they don't really say who he is per se. Just that, well, Kaminari basically think about. Of course, he asks like, "Oh, who's someone you deeply care about?" And who you think of? Airjack, of course. I knew that just by basically, like, heck, even Fellas basically agrees with, well, the fan theory that these two have a thing for each other. Yep. So he, of course, races along. Of course, his power basically stops this other guy. So he used his power to basically just take care of him while everyone else just charges right in. And of course, Carter's like, "Good job, man." And that's the episode. Great episode. Can't wait for next one. We're continuing more of this arc, and well, there's that for you. All right, next up it is the 370 chapter manga history. Where we pretty much have basically a speech said by somebody associated with Spinner, who apparently is souped up on freaking steroids, who's like giant size now. And just basically, you have a guy who's doing his anti-hero speech. Who apparently, like, you have President Mike basically launches an attack on some villains. You have all this stuff going on here. And Spinner, of course, basically. Of course, you have the sugar. You have anti-voice basically, like asking why you're doing it. Like, Radio City. And then we see, I don't know who this is, the guy who's manipulating people to fight. Like, he basically, what he's talking about is a bunch of nonsense. Basically, I'm not going to blame the writer for writing this. Basically, he's just a guy who's who's very paranoid, where he's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories related to the superheroes. And Spinner's like, "Oh yeah, Spinner was right." They flag for that. Like, really? Spinner was right? The guy was a fan of Stain the Hero Killer. So, Yeah, he's giant sized apparently for no reason, and he's like, take back Gerdro. And then Tail comes in. Yes, that's the guy's name, Tail. He proceeds to fight him. What's any of that? Going to attack a hospital. And we see sort of look like his backstory. And we see finally him take off his mask where his mouth is very stretched. And it's like, okay, so he fights him and that's the chapter. Also, he loses a tooth in the fight. Yep, he loses a freaking tooth. Yep. It's a pretty good chapter. It's just basically just having a character spit out a bunch of nonsense for like no apparent reason. Yeah, seriously. I think it's actually I think it's Spinner. No, it's not Spinner. It's who is this guy basically? They say some young mutant. I don't know who the heck this guy is. But it seems as though we have, well, Tentacool. Yeah, he pops up here. And interesting though, we should see a little of his backstory. And finally seeing him take off his mask the first time in this series. Because as far as I can tell, I don't think that he's ever seen without his mask on. So, that's interesting. It's just, well, the problem is this one, it just seems like, well, we just have the Paralympic Army just doing their own thing, and have President Mike and Tentacool basically just attacking Spinner. Yeah, Spinner is pretty much leading the remains of the army because pretty much everybody else has been captured or defeated. So, yeah. You could say Nala was accomplished as one, but yeah, reading that stuff related to that mutant things, this whole thing about the heroes, where like the government's responsible for the quarks and stuff like that. It's just conspiracy nonsense, basically, what this is. Yeah, I'm sure that the writer of the series was basically a play off of. It's like this guy has a take on people who have these stupid conspiracy theories about every single freaking thing. That's probably this guy's based upon. I'm not sure, but basically reading this is like, yeah, this guy's full of nonsense. Yeah, seriously, he is. Yep. I'm giving the chapter roughly a 9 out of 10, mainly because we explore Tentacle's backstory and we see how his match first time. Those two portions was the only thing I found interesting about this chapter, and of course seeing Spinner. But I really wish they explained how the heck he got freaking giant size. He's like he pumped on freaking steroids. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Particular view. Next up is going to be Return of a series that first time in 4 years we see a new chapter for the series. Which one is it? Hunter X Hunter. Yep, we get a chance to talk about this one. Okay, next video. Bye.